Oh yeah, so hello everyone and welcome to the Bold Lounge AMA. We are here with Starfish Sniffer. That's a nice name, and he's gonna be taking us through the Mackenzie's AMA today. And oh yeah, so hey there Starfish, could you tell us about yourself and how you came into the crypto space?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, I'm Starfish. A little bit, I guess, background on myself. I started in crypto in 2014 when, you could say like, it really started to take off, but more of an investor. I already had a career in the programming world, mainly in the full stack side of things. But somewhere in the realm of like 2017, 2018 is when I actually took over, to like start bridging myself from the Web 2 world, you could say, to the current state we are now, which now people call it Web 3. And so I've been involved in different projects and different capacities. In most cases it was more of the review of the code or, just, general audits. But at the same time, there's, I've never been too far from the actual programming piece as well. So, um, but just a little bit about the project itself. The project started from, a group of friends that, had from one side of another have come together in the investment side, and all of us have experienced our own fair share of rug pulls or slow rugs and different scenarios. um, and so the project itself came from the idea that we could create something that is not only going to bring value to the space, but also create a safe haven for people to um, safely buy their crypto and know that once they do make this purchase that it'll be around for them for a long time. So very exciting stuff. We have a lot of good stuff planned, and things that we want to bring forward. It's just the main thing is establishing the basis of what are we, what do we stand for, and the main goal here is community, right? And so anyways, we'll get into that, but definitely just a quick scenario or an idea of what or why we started this.
Yes, so a great introduction from you. Yeah, so let's get deep into the project. Could you tell us, what Dogemackenzie is mainly about? Take us through the utilities of your project.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we wanted to start with a brand, and so in most of these cases, in a lot of these scenarios that you see with these projects, they don't actually create a brand, a character, something that you can, rally behind or actually, um, you could say, adopt, right? It's just some kind of a generic thing, or some kind of a I was well in the meme world, anyways, right? So what I'm getting at is no one that really creates that type of a character that you actually look at and can say, okay, I like this guy, I like this character, I like what they're doing with this, and get behind it. So first off, we wanted to start with that because that's the most important thing is essentially creating something that the community can accept and rally behind. And so that was the main focus. Let's create something that's going to be different and it's going to be focused in alignment with the community. And so we wanted to make not only a character that people could connect with, and and eventually will through what we're going to release, but something that people can connect with and work with and create. And what I mean by create is, join in and have fun with it. That's the whole point, right? This is a meme project. The point is we created the base character for everyone to have fun with. And so, one piece of the crypto space is obviously, everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to earn, value for what they've invested in. So obviously that is heavily focused on our side. But at the same time, we want people to have fun. We want people to enjoy this. We want people to be able to know that they can come and have a safe space to bring their ideas, share their thoughts, and things like that. So, again, our heavy focus is around the community and building that community. So, um, you'll see in a second, and we'll get into that. But in terms of the utilities and the things that we want to bring forward, um, we definitely are not going to go shy or anything different of what actually works. We definitely know that there's a lot of things on the horizon that are wrapped around the NFT space, and even though um, In most cases, most people think of NFTs as just silly pictures or, something baseline around that. What most people don't understand is that there's actually a lot more going on with these NFTs than just this, right? There's film, music, the security that's going to start being baked in that, and some things that, like, most people don't understand are like informational records, like medical records, or say like um, um, I guess what I'm trying to get at some point down the road, it could be used for many different reasons and use cases, right? And so I think the surface of the NFT world has just been scratched, but the long-term piece of it is that it's actually going to be much deeper than that. And the upgrades and the changes that are coming, we're definitely all on board for that, because one of the key things that we're into and we love to work with is in the NFT space, is the forefront of the film side of things as well as the music side of things. It's some of the most amazing stuff that's going to be coming out. I think in the beginning, it's going to be very basic, because the concept hasn't been fully fleshed out in the sense that what's the capacity or capabilities. But I think with the talents and the community coming together, people like yourself and myself and others within this space will come together and actually bring amazing things that can now live forever, right? And so yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future. But anyways, in that space, the NFT is one piece of it. Yeah, if you look at our website, you can look at the roadmap, and in the roadmap, that's specifically put down for Q1 of 2023. We wanted to make sure that we gave ourselves a definite good milestone in time frame, but the goal here is to under promise and over deliver. So we're definitely full speed ahead on that. But there's a mint and marketplace that we have planned for this. So there's a lot of things going in there, and the reason why, obviously, the market is flooded with other marketplaces and things like that. But our goal is to be in that unique space where people can come and share their ideas and their films and their music and things like that. So there's so much going on, and I guarantee you, the deeper you go, the more you're going to see that this is just the beginning. Um, Aside from that, there's things that we're working on in the realm of gaming. So we're definitely working on some DeFi games. Some of them are going to be simple, and there's going to be something more complex. I'm not sure you're familiar, but there's a couple of very popular gaming engines out there. One of them being Unity, the other one being Unreal Engine. So there's so many things that are happening and incorporating into this crypto world, that some of the games that you see now, AAA titles, are going to eventually start incorporating this wallet factor, the play to earn, watch to earn scenario. So many good things. And I say that because, like yourself, let's say, it doesn't sound like much now, but at some point down the road, those NFTs that you earn or you buy or you hold will appreciate in time, because of the fact that you're essentially adding value to the space in one form or other, whether it is watch to earn, play to earn, um, or just being an investor, yourself. So um, the other utilities that we're bringing is going to be staking and farming. We've actually separated that space just because there's more legality around how you handle that. So again, with the mindset that under promise over deliver, and bring that to market as soon as we can. But there's things that have to be taken in account, specifically on the regulation side and on the compliance side. So we're just making sure that everything is according to it has to be, so that there's no gotchas for the investors. Because at the end of the day, if we don't do something right, it doesn't just impact us; it impacts everybody that's put their hard-earned money in. So we're taking a very tactful approach to make sure that we protect the investors, because in the end of the day, this again. The community is what makes this project, and if the community is not behind the project, there is no project. And that is most of the time when you see these projects get abandoned. But again, our focus is not that. Our focus is the community itself. And so if you look at a roadmap, we definitely have placed that in as placeholders, which is the actual community growth and the development events, or as we call it, global reach. And just a little context behind that is which ties into the tokenomics, but through the tokenomics that we've aligned and set up, we're going to give ourselves as much liquidity as possible, but at the same time creating the marketing budget that allows us to do these specific things. So outreaches, and what I mean by outreach, it could be as simple as like donation. It could be as simple as like an actual event. just there are many possibilities, but again, we're opening up those doors and those possibilities through the project itself. So in terms of the I guess you could say the level of it. It all depends on the community. We plan to actually have, voting, and in other words, a governance system where people can come in and vote, and give their opinion on things. And so there's so many good things planned. Like I said, it's just a matter of launching, getting off the ground, and moving forward.
Okay, nice, nice. It's been a nice presentation from you so far, and really interesting stuff you guys going here. And seeing your major utilities you guys have in place for this 2022 is gonna be the staking and the swap feature. Yeah, sorry about that. It's gonna be the staking and the swap feature. So I just wanted to know, are those actually gonna be live immediately after the pre-sale, or it's gonna take some few or you know amount of time before those come to place?
So, we the reason we didn't put a specific date is because as mentioned, we're going through the compliance process. So as soon as we're completed with that and all the audit passes on that, we're definitely going to go live. So, I would say it's within. I'd like to say within a couple of weeks, but I would actually put more of a target date, say in October, if we were to say some kind of a target date, just because again, we don't control the compliance piece of it, but since Dogecoin, or I'm sorry, Dogechain itself is such a new, um, what's new blockchain, and in this case new environment, new ecosystem is I guess what I want to summarize. Things are going to be evolving at a very fast pace, so we're making sure that what we do is tactful, so that, let's say, for example, let's just say that which in many cases we could actually light this up, right? But if we're out of compliance, we're going to get shut down, right? Or some kind of a fine, which in the end of the day impacts us as a company, or as a token itself, and you as an investor, is actually hoping for that, right? So we have to make sure that everything that we're doing is actually within that compliance space, so that we don't have any situations where you as an investor are impacted, us as a token are impacted because we've done what needs to be done correctly. But yes, yeah, to answer your question, um, as soon as we can, once we get the green light that everything has passed, and the actual audits on the swap and all that is completed, we're definitely gonna go make that go live. It's just a matter of making sure that everything is within compliance.
Okay, cool, cool. So about the swap, in what swaps do you guys actually have planned to list on, after the launch?
So immediately after the launch, we're like, as soon as we go live, it's going to go live on Yield Swap. That's the first swap that we're going to go live. We've actually allocated a percentage of our tokens so that once that goes live, we actually had planned to do that immediately, but we don't want to take anything away from the Yield Swap side of piece immediately and start creating like a separate piece. So the plan is to actually give it at minimum of week, maybe 2 weeks at tops, but we already have allocated those pieces on Kibble Swap, which is our next actual DEX that we want to list on. So essentially, that the liquidity pool piece is the part that needs to be completed, and once that's done, we'll also go live there, right? So, but again, that requires additional marketing and some other pieces that we want to put in place. So everything needs to be strategic, because one slip up, one mistake, one type of thing that you may think might be a smart idea, but in the end may actually take customers from one piece to the other. In the end, it only impacts us and as a token, and it impacts the investors. So everything needs to be done with tactfully. So this way, we don't have that type of situation. We actually grow organically, and everybody benefits from those changes and those ideas.
Okay, cool, cool stuff you've spoken so far, and also I had a question. Seeing on the roadmap, you guys are gonna be having NFT mint and also a marketplace, and followed by the DeFi games. I see that's gonna be coming the 2023 roadmap. But could you actually tell us what we're gonna be expecting from the NFTs Yeah. So about the NFTs, I don't know if you've actually put a specific decision on this, but could you tell us the total supply and how their use case is gonna be?
Sure. So, there's some details that I can't get into, like specifically the supply and all the specifics on that just yet. But definitely, we like believe me, there'll be follow-ups and updates. So I think us and yourself, we could probably do additional calls to just continue to keep the community updated, right? But in terms of the mint and the marketplace, the main thing with the mint, is going to be that we're going to bring additional value to the space. Um, not sure if you're familiar that how the way that Doge chain works at the moment, but essentially, what Doge chain is doing is creating bridges that allow you to bring in level one tokens into this level two blockchain. So think of Doge chain as very similar as the symbiotic relationship of Polygon to Ethereum, right? So essentially, Ethereum is the base layer, and the and Polygon is the additional layer that allows you to wrap that token. The difference here is that Polygon specifically chose Ethereum. Dogechain did not do that. Dogechain actually is opening the bridges to everybody. So Dogechain is a level two to everyone. And that blew my mind when you sit there and you look at that and you're saying, like, what are they doing? They're not trying to be level two for one specific party. They're trying to be level two for everybody, right? Which basically means that this would be the ecosystem for all ecosystems. Again, it sounds crazy, but the more I started looking at this, I was like, this is one of the most brilliant ideas I've seen in a long time of how to unite this space without taking away value, but actually adding value. So back to the point, um, this mint process and marketplace is going to allow us to mint on other level one tokens and actually bring in more value to people, to the shareholders of our space, because all the utilities that we're bringing, all the utilities that provide any of the actual earnings or revenue that's produced from this is obviously going to be accountable and accounted for, and in the end, it's all going to be re-injected to the liquidity in one form or another, whether through buyback or again through the community outreaches, right? So we're keeping a lot of those things in mind, but the point is, if you open the path, you open the bridge, it gives you the ability to bring in money from other institutions. And when I mean institutions, I mean specifically like other tokens. Like, for example, Ethereum is already in this eco space. They've already started with Polygon as well. It's already in the eco space. My understanding is pretty soon, Binance or the BSC Smart Chain is going to now be a part of this ecosystem as well. AVAX is there, and Sol is not that far behind. So we're literally talking that the top five, top 10 tokens are about to be all part of this ecosystem, right? So then if you sit back and you examine what Dogechain has done with their own token, which is called DC, Dogechain token, you can sit there and look at the amount of money and the amount of volume that's being pushed in there every single day. And the only thing I can tell you is that is very, very bullish. Just do your numbers, do your homework, take a look at that, and you'll see. So I see this NFT space on Dogechain being one of the most explosive we've ever seen. But to the point, we definitely going to have some really fun ways of having people buy and mint their NFTs. Again, we don't want to get too in specific because it's definitely intellectual property, and I believe me, it will get used before we actually have the ability to present it ourselves. So we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot just yet, right? So, but lots of good stuff coming in that realm, and I expect to see the community just rally around it once you start seeing how special these are going to be.
Okay, cool, cool. Great stuff. And I really like the vision you guys actually followed, seeing that the Doge chain is gonna be doing something different than other blockchains. It's really been nice to be the part of the first projects to be there. It's gonna make you guys stand out and so on. So I just wanted to ask a question, and I was trying to rack my brain towards the name of the project. The Doge Mackenzie. So I just wanted to know. I know the Doge, okay, is associated with the project definitely, but the Mackenzie. Could you just tell us how you guys actually came about that?
Yes. So, we were trying to find an icon, something that people could connect to at some point in time, right? And so the biggest thing that I see with crypto is that the biggest, I guess you could say, issue with the adoption is that the younger generation, they have no problem with the adoption. Most the younger generation can just get the phone; they're already used to those things. Adding the crypto and adding the layer of using wallets is not that complicated for most younger generation. It's more the older generation, right? And so the way that I see it is I wanted to find something in between, and we all just began discussing, what would be the idea that we could do. And as a team together, we said, what, let's take something that was an icon or something that, at one point, um, connected with people, and let's turn it into something into this space, right? And so the premise is that Doge Mackenzie is essentially the cousin of Spud Mackenzie, which was one point very famous in the 80s and 90s, Budweiser dog, for example, and other marketing scenarios. So the goal is try to bring that together and connect, not just connect the community, but different generations, right? Some people look at that and be like, oh, that's funny, right? And the point is, by doing this, we attract different people from different eras or different age groups. They all can come to our space and learn, right? Our goal here is to help and educate the people. And so one of the biggest things that we push here is creating a safe haven or a safe place for people to actually come and learn, share their ideas, ask the questions, so they can get real answers and actually feel that they're confident in what they're doing, right? And so the biggest and another actual issue I'd say with crypto is that um, there isn't really anywhere that you can go, to feel that you're getting the right information. I mean, there's definitely good resources, but for the most part, there's a lot of stuff out there that most get people lost and things. And so we want to definitely be that place, and hopefully build that community where people can come, share their ideas, give us their questions, get real answers, and feel confident, right? And not only that, right, but by they learning, they continue to share this knowledge with people that they know, right? And so that is the goal. We want to basically usher in that next layer of educating people that then educate other people, and just bringing that awareness, right? And that's how we learn, right? Like we learn, and then we share it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on from there, but we have to share it, right? So that is what this main thing is: build the community, build the actual relationships with the people, so they can come, and then in turn they do the exact same thing.
Yeah, nice. I see you got started. Or you are, yeah, a main token, and bringing a lot of utilities in place. That's right. Is that right?
Yes. That so
Okay,
right now
beautiful.
we're still in the fair launch, which is on the Panda sale side. I'll send you guys that link so you could take a look. That sale ends later today. Um, which is 2 a.m. UTC is when this can actually end. And so, and then in the following morning, which is going to be at 2, or well, afternoon for you guys, 2 p.m. UTC, that's actually when we're going to make the token go live. So the plan is we're going to have an additional follow phone call tomorrow with our community in our Telegram chat, so people can all together see us make it go live, right? So we made sure to plan that so that not only do we put the marketing around that, but also that the community can be there, watch it go live, and we can all see those starts together while it's making its move. But yeah, definitely take a look at the pre-sale, or I'm sorry, the fair launch if you haven't had a chance. I make those terms up, but there's a humongous difference from pre-sale and fair launch, right? But in the term of the fair launch is essentially you create a supply of token. The more people that come, the bigger the split, and so everybody gets a fair share of the token. Thus the fair launch, right? So just take a look at the metrics, and you'll see that it definitely makes sense of what we're trying to do, and it should actually give us a very strong and stable launch and a consistent growth pattern and plan.
Oh yeah, so nice. So just a quick question. Why did you guys actually go with using the Panda seal of for the fair launch rather than popular launch pads?
So it's a very good question. Just so you know, we actually started this process and created this launch 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, this actually didn't exist on other popular launch pads. And so we started watching the pattern, and other launch pads definitely see what Panda Sale did and chose to start, incorporating that into their launch pads as well. So, but just to give you a scenario, we actually looked at different launch pads. One of them in particular we looked at was Pink Sale, and they didn't actually offer this. This is like within the last week they picked up the Dogechain, um, or they actually added the Dogechain on the back end, and then now allowing for launches in Dogechain, right? But had we known that, I mean, I don't think that would have changed our decision, just because in previous project that I've helped launch, we've worked with Pink Sale, and just the level of support that we got from Panda Sale, just it's so amazing. It's not even funny. Like I literally was talking to the owners of this project, and they made sure that not only was our project solid, but they made sure that everything was ready to go. And if I had any questions, they answered them. And I could tell you that I never got that on the other side of things, right? So it wasn't just about, for us, it isn't just about the popularity, it's about the relationships, right? So with Panda Sale growing, and us obviously being a piece of that, we get to grow together, right? So I think it's similar to Pink Sale in the sense that Pink Sale wasn't Pink Sale got big from some big projects, right? And many people will say this, meaning in the sense that it just takes one solid project to really put you on the map, right? And I agree with that. I think that's actually what will happen with Panda Sale. They're going to have those projects. I believe we're one of those, and there are going to be many that are going to follow that actual framework that we're trying to set, which is set the standard of do things right and actually provide the value to you investors, right? So that's what I'm trying to say is, in the end of the day, we could have chosen another different partner, but I think we chose the right one because they're actually there to support us. When they say they're supporting you, they actually do. And you can see that if you go to their actual Telegram, you can actually see the owners interacting. You can see the questions being asked, and I personally have had those interactions, and I can tell you it's legit. There's no going around it. They do what they say they're going to do. Are you there? Hello? Can you hear me?
Starfish, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now. It's just been silent.
Okay. Okay, okay. It's TG just cut me off a bit there. And yeah, what you said was actually true. I was actually present at your AMA with Panda Sale today, and yeah, it was really an interesting one. Got to had I actually learned more from that AMA, about your project, and also saw that you guys gonna have a Mac, but you guys didn't include that on your roadmap. So you care to tell us about that? Are they live or immediately after launch, or how is it gonna be? Please
Oh,
briefly. I want to get to community questions soon.
okay, sure. Ask me that question one more time. I heard a piece of it. You were mentioning the part that I had mentioned on the call, but I didn't catch what you actually said. Can you say it one more time for me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. About the merchandise.
Oh, yes, the
Yeah,
merch.
yeah.
Got it. Yes. Okay. So the merchandise. So the purpose of the store. So the we went through the process of how to find a way to actually move our brand forward, right? But at the same time, provide actual value as well, right? So what we ended up doing here with the merchandise store is we went through and branded different types of merchandise, whether it be T-shirts for ladies, for gentlemen. We also went through the process of going through and branding it for babies as well. So there's like a good selection of materials just in general wear. Um, we also did drinkware. So there's mugs, different types of bottles and things like that, as well as a pint glass. If you'll enjoy a good beer here and there. It's a really nice glass. I personally, when I saw that, I was like, I definitely want one of those for my back end just for the display. So it's something to have. But what we did uniquely with the Panda Sale team is, because of the support that we got, we actually created a discount code, which is just the word Panda Sale, all one word, Panda Sale together, and that essentially allows you as the Again, if you want to support or you want to be a part of it and you want to actually wear the merchandise, you can go there and actually get free shipping. So if you go to the site and they actually ship to your area, you could put the discount code and actually get that discount. But the difference with them was that we were doing that as we were doing twofold, right? We also did the sale, which actually gives people free shipping. And for some of the people that that did go into our room and participated in the contest, we're also doing a giveaway for those contests as well. So there's a lot of good things in there that are in the chat. That I don't want to get too crazy either, but it definitely explains what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to actually engage the community, and give them something of value that they can either wear, or in this case, they can display. Like you can see the artwork that people did. I mean, there's so many amazing things that we saw. Like, we went from basic memes to people actually creating things with their hands. And that, in my opinion, is what this is all about, right? Like, but that's what gets forgotten in this space. That in the end of the day, it's really what people can do and their accomplishments, right? And so that, in my opinion, is what I believe crypto should be. It should be that, not only that bridge to bring the community in, but also to be able to help the community, right? And that is really what we're about, right? In the end of the day, like, for someone in certain places, $50 isn't much, but in some places, $50 is a lot, right? So we can make an impact with the big or small. It's just we have to put our mind to it and make it happen. But yeah, the merch is definitely there. Go ahead, Toy.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say cool. Oh good. Really explanatory, and I understand the reason for that. Really legit. I don't know if you wanted to share a little peek about the Mac, what we are expecting to see in there, but why you dropped that, could you also be taking run us through the road, sorry, the tokenomics, the utilities of the token, the total supply of the token, and how you came to those decisions, please. I'm just trying to
Yep.
get to the community questions.
Yep, absolutely. So, the total supply of the tokens is 10 billion in total. There's no mint. It's a solid number, so that's not going to go up or down. That's going to change. So the purpose behind that is when we're ready and we start doing these buybacks, the token is going to get much more rare and rare and rare. That's the point, right? Like if you have an infinite supply, then you can never actually make this rare. Then you'll never have the scenario where the token just appreciates because you're burning it, right? Because you're actually burning it just to try and get there, versus if the number is finite, it's not going to go up. All it's going to do is go down. By reducing supply, you make it that much more rare. So it, again, was done in a tactful method, so that when we get to that place point, like, this token is just going to go up in value. It's not going to go down. That's the reasoning behind the finite token amount without additional mint. Behind the tokenomics, it's a 10% tax. 6% of that goes straight to liquidity. Just take a look at every other project out there. They're all doing 1%, 2%. No one's touching that realm above the 5%. And the reason why we're doing that is because the more liquidity you inject to the project, even if people come and try to sell, they're adding more liquidity. Just think about that, right? So with tokens that give reflections, actually, let me explain tokenomics and I'll come back, right? So 6% of the 10% is going to liquidity. 3% is going to be going into that marketing outreach fund, as I mentioned, and 1% is going to be given back to the community in reflections. Now, the reason why we chose the 1% is because if you're essentially minting, or in this case, giving reflections of the existing supply to your token holders, right? If you're giving them more than 1%, or in this case more than what you're actually producing liquidity, then your token is never going to survive, right? You're essentially giving more than you actually have the ability to pay for, right? And so look at the other projects and you're going to see what I'm talking about. The tokenomics wasn't based around them making you money. The tokenomics was based around them making themselves money, right? And so the reason why we're doing this is because there's going to be people that can't come in and buy as a whale, right? They can't come in and spend a lot of money to actually, put themselves in a really high position. They're going to spend small amounts to get themselves in the position that they can afford, right? So the more liquidity that we inject, the more we protect people like that. Right, and that is in the end of the day our target shareholder, because they're the ones that are coming in. They're actually believing in the project. Most whales come in to make the money and go, but I'm not saying all, right, but there's definitely whales that come in to make the money and go, and in the end, the victims are obviously the people that have the smaller wallets, right? So that's the purpose of this, to protect the smaller wallets, to make sure that reflections aren't going out and it's creating this humongous supply where people can destroy the actual liquidity, but at the same time we're protecting that liquidity pool by injecting as much as we can. So that is the main purpose. We would have done more, but then we would have had to have raised the tax and the balance wouldn't be there. So but again, 6% of liquidity. Now let me touch on the 3%. So the 3% and the goal behind that is the part that I mentioned on the community growth and development events. Our goal behind that is to essentially create that and get that marketing budget so that through that and through governance with the community, we can have discussions around um, what we were going to do, the essentially like who we're going to reach to, the outreaches, where can we use this fund and allocate it appropriately. So the point is, this is all going to be done in a responsible manner. Everyone's going to know what we're doing and why we're doing it and where it's going to go. That is ultimately the goal behind this, right? So we have a few ideas behind that. We've been bullet pointing different things of how to successfully do it, but once we actually have and engage the partners that we're going to work with for these outreaches, right? That's where we can come to that middle space where it works for them, it works for us, and then we make it work, right? So, um, but anyways, uh, not sure if I answered your question on tokenomics. If you have more, go ahead and tell me. I think I went on a tangent, so I would just bring me back.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You did a great job answering the tokenomics. So, how long is the liquidity gonna be locked for? 6 months, right?
Yes, correct. So we put in the liquidity lock for 6 months. We've already been talking to the additional partners, so we can lock that after that point. The reason why we chose to do 6 months is because within 6 months, I mean, for example, I think within 2 months, we're going to see this evolve so much that locking it in any longer just doesn't make sense, right? But the 6 month lock is peace of mind for the investor to look at and say, these guys are not going to pull that liquidity out, right? Look at all the other projects. You're going to see some do like literally 5 minutes, right? Some do 30 days, which that's great, right? But think about that. That basically means that it's a race in 30 days for them to pull out that liquidity, right? So we went with a balance that would allow us to actually create value in this actual token and the tokenomics themselves, but also provide peace of mind for you as an investor to look at that and say, okay, 6 months, they can't touch us for 6 months, right? Like if they want to do something, they absolutely cannot do that, right? Not obviously the goal is not we want to build this trust. We're just trying to basically show that this is our commitment to this project long term, right? So the 6 month lock is just a basis so that once we get to that point, the next step is going to be to actually lock it in. And in this case, probably a bigger swap or a bigger dex. And just like I said, so many different things going on. But the main thing is it's peace of mind for you as investors. And obviously for us on the other side of things, we actually use that as a benefit to present that as a business, or these business practices of just like, look, this is how this works. This is why we did this. And this again, just going back to the same thing, is based around the community to give everyone that knowledge and peace of mind that we're going to be there. You're going to wake up tomorrow and look at your wallet and say, wow, there it is, right? It's not going to be a situation of like what just happened, right? Like none of that. Like that's the goal here. The goal is to keep this as steady as possible and the growth as steady as possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a great answer. And the last question I had, not the last, but no, just looking at the time. And the other question I had was about your KYC and audit. Yeah, are you KYC'd and are you audited? And what company actually audited your contract?
So the audit is completed. We have not done the KYC yet. That actually is going to be done with different partners, but it's not. We're not going to announce that date because again, our goal is to keep ourselves completely safe as possible. The space is pretty cutthroat, so we're trying to do as much as we can to protect ourselves and obviously the people that are involved in the project because they have come from different places. And just the point is it's out of safety. It's not because of other reasons. You if you understand what I mean on that side. But the audit itself, if you go to the site, we actually added a link. The audit was done by Novos. And Novos is a reputable U.S.-based auditing firm, and they're also a partner with the Panda Sale team. So as soon as I mean, it's something amazing, but like I said, when once you follow the frameworks and you create your token within those frameworks, the partners just take a look at that and go over it and verify, the audit is there. So once they went through our audit process, within that 48-hour mark, they were actually able to come back with any other findings. Not sure if you're looking at it now, but I can send that to you um, in a chat. One second.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
One moment. I'll put it right now. And let me add the link to the merch store as well, so you guys have that. One second.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, here. Okay, here come the links. There you go.
Okay,
So
nice.
uh, I s- I
Yeah,
sent you
yeah.
the
I see
sale, the
the
website.
yeah, yeah. The seal is there. That's what I was shaking as well. But yeah, nice. You wanted to say something?
No, no, I'm just saying I sent you the website. I sent you the merchandise, Twitter, Telegram, and the audits. You could just go right through them, and just take a look and follow along. But essentially, the first thing we did was get the token ready, start working with the team on the Panda sales side. We went through the process of creating the Launchpad. Um, Yeah, like I said, the process with them was, I wouldn't say white glove because obviously that wasn't what they were doing, but it definitely felt like that. And so they definitely took care of us, introduced us to the partners that are there. And if you go to their doc site, you can actually see the partners. So I got in contact with them, and within 24 hours, they had already gone through the audit, presented their findings, made the recommendations, and then we went right. So if you go to the finding, you can see we passed with absolutely no risks or issues. The only thing that they recommended is more on the coding side, which not sure if you're familiar with coding, but when you do coding, you have the ability to add messages or like sometimes the syntax is written there. And so they just made recommendations on cleanup, which that's actually pretty normal in some cases. But we basically leave notes or there's certain information that gets put in there. So that's what they were talking about in that realm. But if you take a look at the audit, you could actually see. Um, there's no crazy issues there with the any of these specifics. No nothing in there that's going to sit there and be a red flag. In fact, like I said, the only two things that they showed were on the informational side, and that was more specific to, like I said, the syntax and some of the functions. Which, and when they mean by functions, they're specifically talking about like some people like to set certain parameters, but we had already built that into the actual contract when it was being launched. So there's nothing to change. Where there's no reason to blacklist things. There's no reason to like make any modifications at this moment in time, right? So that's what we wanted to verify that everything passed. There were no mediums, no highs, no lows. What did they find? And I'm not sure if you saw, but they didn't find anything that would be any type of concern.
Oh yeah, cool. That's nice. The last question I have for you, so we'll move on to the community questions, is gonna be about the partnerships and after launch marketing plans. That's the post-launch marketing plan. So could you briefly please take us through that? Just what kind of partnership you guys already have or you plan to have, and what kind of steps you going to take for the post-launch marketing.
Absolutely. So, um, let me talk actually about the marketing first. So there's a two-sided approach to this. One piece of it is obviously working with professional partners that are actually doing helping us with the marketing. We've had like lots of people reach out to us. Some of them from different exchanges. One, for example, was the Asbit team. They definitely reached out to us because we caught their attention. But but again, these are all partnerships that are still in process, so I can't really get specific. But that's definitely one that I could actually say because we do have the confirmations and emails and things like that. So I'm not, just saying these things. But the point is, we're working with other partnerships and other swaps to get ourselves listed on these other dexes. We've already submitted our applications with both CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. It's just a matter of obviously the token launching and moving forward. We've also been talking to other tokens. There's other tokens in this space that have amazing ideas. Some of them actually have some products that they've want to bring to market, but unfortunately, to the timing or funding or the things like that. So there's definitely been some great conversations going on, and I definitely see us bringing in some great ideas in partnership, whether it is symbiotic where we help each other, we just grow together, or whether we actually end up buying out other tokens, right? Like you like again, many things are on the table. There's so many different things that can happen on here. So the main thing is to align yourself in the appropriate way so you can, because again, the difference here, my friend, is that we're treating this like a business, because that's actually what this is if you really think about that, right? If you treat this, and I'm saying like, like what I mean is we're using the business practices that you would actually run a real business with, and if you align yourselves correctly, you actually have a real actual chance versus just running it like, you know I don't know. I would say, just running it without any intent, right? Everything is with intent and purpose. So if you run things correctly, you have a plan, and you follow that plan, you should actually have the results of what you want with that plan. Obviously, there'll be variations, but the point is, if you follow a structure, or as we like to call it, the pillars, right, of stability within this project, we keep those things aligned, you're going to be here.
Cool, and thanks for that. It's been a very detailed explanation and a really nice talk and conversation with you, Starfish Sniffer. Yeah, still a nice name. And yeah, so we're gonna move on to the so we're gonna move on to the community questions. Everyone, raise your hands. I've omitted some people already, and please, everyone, you're to follow the rules of the AMA. Join the Bulls Lounge announcement channel, and also the Mackenzie's TG. And yeah, that we checked before I'll be handing out the prize to the winners. And yeah, I've unmuted Ayush. Ayush, allowed to speak. Please ask your question.
Hey, bro, Maxwell. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Everything good, bro. Just enjoying this AMA.
Yeah,
Actually, I
yeah.
have.
So yeah, yeah. Please, one second, one second, and please, everyone, please keep it to one question per person. That's really important. Thanks.
Okay. Basically, I wanted to know about the DeFi games. What kind of the games are you going to provide to investors? And do we need to kind of any need to hold these tokens to play?
Ah, you have a very, very good question, my friend. So, I can't get too detailed into the game just yet because, again, the intellectual property we have wrapped around it. But to give you the concept, um, we actually, so back to what I was saying around bringing in value, right? Instead of us trying to get you or get investors to use their own tokens, the token itself, you would say, is what powers the ecosystem that we're trying to build, right? But in the end, right, people can come and play with whatever they want, right? So that's what I mentioned earlier about the bridges. So you could technically use your D Mackenzie token to play the game, right? But then you could also use Ethereum, you could also use Polygon, you could also use that. Long story short, in the end of the day, it adds liquidity to the Mackenzie project, right? Which then you as a token holder see the value through that process. So just forget everything that you know in the sense of how things have worked before, because when you look at what Dogechain is doing, the only thing they haven't added that I actually just saw coming this week is the payment gateway system, which means that when we start adding that to our setup, that's going to allow us to not only take other cryptos, but also take Visa and MasterCard. So this world is about to go into this. I mean, it reminds me of the whole Star Wars thing where they're like, Chewie, punch it, right? And that's what I actually see starting to happen for us, my friend. It's going to happen so fast that, like they say, your head is going to spin.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I got it. Just one
Yeah.
thing. It is, yeah, yeah, bro. Just a minute. It is going to be a player versus player or multiplayer.
Oh, my friend, there's going to be so many different scenarios. Like there won't be just one. Like when I said DeFi gaming, we literally mean like DeFi games, right? So yeah, there'll definitely be multiplayer. There'll definitely be things like that. But like I said, I can't get into too much detail because of the intellectual properties of the people that are like working on this. And so, it's like anything. You want to protect your project. You want to protect your ideas until you're ready to release it, so no one steals it, right? And so, in this space, unfortunately, that ends what ends up happening. But yeah, absolutely. Like there's multiplayer. I think I don't know if I mentioned it on this call, but there's so many different ways of doing this, from HTML5 or those types of basic games built on like Construct, for example. Then you have the Unity, and then we also have the Unreal Engine, right? And so we've been exploring all of those. Some PM members on our team have actually done development on both of those engines. So the possibility is definitely there. It's just a matter of the execution, right? And so that's what we're doing. We're making sure that when we do this, we execute appropriately and tactfully, so that it's not the wrong step, it's not a misstep, it's a step in the right direction, right? But to answer your question, if you keep looking on the horizon and if you start looking at what's happening, the Unreal team or the Epic side of things, as well as like Unity 3D and all of those guys, they're starting to add this crypto piece to it. It's just little by little, but before you know it, it's going to just be like, we're playing Grand Theft Auto and we're selling or giving each other real tokens, right? Like we're not that far. Like everyone wants to make it sound like it's not, but when you look deeper, we're literally right there.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I got it. Actually, I saw a lot of projects in this Dogechain. Basically, they don't have any roadmap or white paper, and they launch. And after that, they will prepare these stuff. But I am really, literally very happy that you have pre-sale also filled, and you have their white paper or a lot of these roadmap stuffs preparing. So thank you. And I saw your merchandise also. We'll look on that.
Uh,
Have a great day,
Thank you, sir.
yeah,
guys.
You too, sir.
thanks,
Appreciate
Ayush,
it.
for the question. Yeah, always nice to have you, Ayush. And we'll move on to Goodwill. Goodwill, you're allowed to speak. Please ask your question.
Maxwell, how are you doing?
Good in yourself?
Medium good than you.
Um, I'm doing great. No, it's unfortunate that some projects remain halfway because of their developers abandon the concepts because they cannot achieve the desired capitalization in the long term. So how do you plan to make the project sustainable for its development?
Well, so traditionally, what these projects do is they rely on you as the investor to bring in their money to actually build those projects. That is not the case here. It's not about your money to do this. You're investing. So okay, one step back. So in the world of startups, right, in startup companies, right, you go around and you do what are called VC, or you're essentially getting venture capital, right? You're essentially going out and bringing in investors to invest in your company and get you started, right? So that, in my opinion, is actually what crypto really is, right? It gives you as the individual the opportunity to get into something that you would not normally be able to get into, right? And you get in at a ground floor. So my point is, in a traditional sense, right? They take your money and start to develop the product. The difference here is we already have the product, right? So the bigger difference here is that we didn't want to release all the actual product all at once for specific reasons. As I mentioned, the intellectual property. There's a lot of things in there, and I know the moment we do this, it's going to be like the competition is going to heat up. We know this because we literally every single day have now been getting more and more. Not only the partnership side, but also, as you would say, like the people that they're not happy, right? You could call them haters if you want to say, but essentially we've been getting a lot of it as well, right? So my point though behind this is, in terms of the stability, in terms of actually moving forward, that's going to happen because the money is not going to become out of the marketing for us to develop these projects. The marketing money is actually going to be used for specifically what it actually says, marketing and outreach, right? But in terms of the development of the products, because of the people we have, because of what we're doing, we're actually going to be already in that. That is already happening, right? The product is there. The difference is the execution and the release of said product, right? And so the reason why, though, and again, I'll come back to this again, is the reason why we're being very tactful on the releases is because this is moving so fast and it's getting in front of so many people's eyes. I mean, for example, the DC chain and the actual DC token went from nobody caring to now being on Gate.io, being on MEXC, being all these major level tier one, tier two exchanges. They just went on Bitmart, if not mistaken, today or yesterday, right? So the pace that this token has done from the moment it launched in the beginning of August, right? I'm sorry, the chain launched in the beginning of August, right? But the actual token, I believe, launched like 2 weeks ago. And the progress that it's made in these last 2 weeks is more than most tokens have made in the entire like 2 years, right? And so it's moving at such a pace that it would be really, I would say, foolish on our part to just release a product without having everything fully vetted and the contracts on the and on our actual like utilities fully vetted before we just bring it forward, right? Because at the end of the day, if something is wrong, who does it impact? You, right? You as the investor are going to have to sit there and literally hear and say, sorry guys, this wasn't, we didn't make this, we're not in compliance, we have to go to V2, right? And every scenario that you've seen where people go to like a V2, it doesn't end very well. So my point to you is everything has to be done tactfully, everything has to be done in a method that actually follows compliance, right? So that this way we protect not only the company or the token itself, but you as the investor, right? So that's the entire point of this, just to make sure that we're staying within that compliance piece. So as soon as that is completed and all the additional audits are done, we actually can move forward.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you answered
Goody,
it,
are you
bro.
there?
I'm there,
Okay,
bro.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the question. And last question is gonna go to young investor. Please ask your question.
Thanks for the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can
Um,
hear you.
Yep.
Starship, I was listening when you were explaining about your tokenomics. So, and there's one thing I was looking forward to hear from you. I noticed that True Wallet is holding 10% of your total supply, 8.9, and the other one is 1.1. So, can you tell us what's those tokens for?
So there is, there's actually the breakdown. So if you look at the Panda sale, you'll see there's 10 billion tokens. Five billion of those are actually allocated right now to the sale, right? 3.9 billion of those tokens are going to go into the liquidity locked for yield sale, and then there's that 1.1 billion, which is that 11% that you're referencing. That is what we're going to use to launch on Kibble Swap. So we have to send that to KibbleSwap and actually lock that in with their liquidity so that we can launch on the pool. But we can't do that immediately because we're launching on YieldSwap. So think of it like this: if we were to send that now, right, and actually do that liquidity lock now, we would launch in two simultaneous places and take business away from each other, right? So we don't want to do that. We actually want to have a successful launch on one DEX and then stage the other one. So that actually will happen within the next couple of weeks. But you bring actually you bring up a great point and opportunity to actually express this. This is why we have those community votes, right? So that people can go in there and actually see what we're doing. So this is the perfect example of one of the first ones that we're actually going to do with the community, which is let them know and have the transparency of where this is all going. So that what you're talking about is actually not going to remain unlocked. That's actually going to be put in a lock with the Kibble Swap team. So we've already had a conversation with them. What we need to do get that prepared. So the main thing is we're preparing the marketing side so that once we move those tokens and they lock in that liquidity, it's just going to get lit up by not only them but on the marketing side as well. So there is no unlocked tokens on our side. It's literally 50% for free sale and 50% lock. The only difference here is going to basically be that that 11% won't be locked until we actually light up with the Kibble Swap side. So um, did I answer your question?
Based on your explanation now, are you trying to say that those tokens being held by Pandas or is the team that holds the tokens?
So okay, so the 5 billion that is already in Panda Sales hands. The 3.9 billion is already in Panda Sales hands. The moment that we commit the sale, that 3.9 billion goes straight over to YieldSwap. So the team, us, we don't touch that, right? Now, in terms of the 1.1 that we're talking about right now, that is actually the team that's communicating with KibbleSwap, and then when KibbleSwap is ready, they pull those tokens. So bottom line is happening through a process of vetting. It's not just like the team just moving things around. So, but I do understand what you're trying to get at. But the bottom line is that this is all actually being handled by these swaps. So the team is not going to be making those moves. Like and when it actually does take place, the community is going to be alerted within the actual Telegram or in this case other social media. So there's going to be complete transparency of what we're doing. This is not just like we're just doing it because we feel like doing it, which is what traditionally happens, as I mentioned.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. I'm already on it. I will ask more questions without wasting much of your time.
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
he makes a good point. That is actually the basis of our uh, sorry, I have an echo. That is actually the basis of our channel, which essentially is to bring people in to ask those questions. Ask them. That's the whole point, right? Like we're not gonna sit there and block you unless you're like attacking people or saying hateful things. But if you have genuine questions or you want to learn, come. Like that's what we want to do. We want to create that safe space and that haven so people can ask those questions. There is no dumb question. Well, I take it back. There are dumb questions, but not in the sense when you're actually asking genuine questions of what you want to know, right? And so if you're coming in and actually want to know specifics about the token, great. If you want to learn about crypto, great. That's what we want. We want to teach, educate, and grow together.
Oh yeah, it's been a great AMA, and I'm having an AMA following up this, and the time has reached already. And yeah, so thanks for coming out, Starfish, and uh, I'll be distributing the giveaways after this AMA, picking some random and the best questions. We had three, so they're all qualified for the giveaway. So yeah, I'll be announcing that shortly. And Starfish, I'm gonna end the recording now. Just 1 second, please.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so could you send me a DM so that I'll
Yes,
forward you the
absolutely.
wallets? Yeah, so I'll forward you the wallets for the giveaways.
I'm doing that right now, Maxwell. 1 second. I'm gonna just say hello. Let me know you got it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Okay.
so thanks for coming out, man. And please everyone join the Dogemackenzie TG, and I will be checking that for those who ask the questions. If you are not on the TG, you'll be disqualified. And for the random participant that I'm gonna pick, if you aren't on the TG, I'm gonna disqualify you and pick another person. So yeah, we've come to the end of the session, and thanks for coming out, Starfish. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Bye bye.